Hi, I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach, and this is the Organize Your Life podcast. I am passionate about organizing because it makes my clients' lives so much easier, more relaxed, and with more time to spend the way they want to. In every podcast in the show, I'll lay out a simple organizing concept, and I'll tell you why it's important. I'll also include an action step at the end so you can start practicing right away. My specialty is chunking down this big topic so it's not overwhelming. That's the concept for this podcast, which is based on my first book, 52 Simple Ways to Get Organized. The book is available on my website and on Amazon. I work with clients in person in the Berkeley, California area and via email and Skype, so you don't have to be local to me. Visit the Hire tab on my website or email me at claire@cluttercoach.net. If you like the show, please rate it and review it. To do that, go to my website, cluttercoach.net, and scroll down for the show notes. Each show notes post has a link to leave a review in iTunes. I would so appreciate that. Okay, on to the podcast. This is podcast number 55, and it's based on simple way number 46, which says, take a fresh look. Have you noticed how little you need to get by happily when you're traveling? When you're away from home, you're focused on activities and people, not on stuff. If you forgot to bring something, you buy another one, you borrow one, or you just make do with what you have. You don't worry about it. I'm going to give you a tip to leverage that state of being, but I want to talk about it a little more first. Not only do you get by fine with a suitcase or two full of stuff, but you feel carefree and unencumbered, right? No to-do list to worry about, no piles of stuff to remind you of, well, something. No house full of possessions to clean, fix, reassemble, put away, or otherwise monkey with. Travel is refreshing because you see new things, beautiful places, and you do fun stuff. Not like your boring life at home. Just kidding. But I will posit that travel is refreshing also because you are temporarily free of being the custodian of stuff. And by that I mean not only possessions, but all the other complications and details of life. I'm not a minimalist, nor do I believe that minimalism is inherently good. Maybe you actively miss all your stuff when you're away from home. That's fine. But if the scenario I mentioned above rings any bells, reflect on whether there's some changes you want to make at home. So, here's the tip. Schedule a day of decluttering right after you get home from a trip. This is a great time to do it because your eye will temporarily be fresh and more objective, and you can see your space much more clearly. You'll be able to see how many things you own that really aren't necessary to your happiness and well-being. You'll be able to start judging whether each possession is pulling its own weight. Is it worth the space it takes up and the care it needs, given what it adds to your life? Items don't always enter our lives in conscious, mindful ways. Once they have entered our lives, though, we stop seeing them at all sometimes, so there's no opportunity to judge them. That's where the fresh look part comes in. Take advantage of that vacation state of mind to critically review your possessions. Do you really need and want all that stuff? Hang on to that feeling of a suitcase of clothes, a bag of toiletries, and a book. Next, ask yourself, do you really need all the complications in your life? Here in the modern Western world, complications abound, and some really can't be avoided. But just like stuff, they can sneak into our lives and multiply when we're not really paying attention. And they deserve to be evaluated to see if we want them in our lives. So, in addition to stuff, look at how your time is spent. Would you like to bring more, quote-unquote, vacation into your life by focusing more on spending time with people and getting out and doing fun things? So what you can do right now is, if you have a trip planned, add that decluttering day to your calendar so you don't forget it. And if you don't have any trip plans, this can also work when you get home from doing something new, anything new, really. Hiking to a new spot, meeting new friends, attending an event you haven't been to before. The newness is the key to activating your objectivity. So go try it. Hey, thanks for listening. I'm Claire Tompkins, the Clutter Coach. If you like the show, I'd love it if you leave a rating and review in iTunes. You can subscribe, too, so the podcast will be ready and waiting for you to listen to. You'll find the show notes on my blog at www.cluttercoach.net, and you can check out my store to find books I've written and a whole bunch of other stuff. If you're a fan of the show, you can become a patron on patreon.com for as little as $1 a month. You can find my page by going to the Patreon website, that's Patreon, and searching on Clutter Coach. I'll still post the podcast free of charge, but I've got some cool rewards for folks who want to help me make the show even better. Come back next week for a new podcast.